All right, so our next topic is externalities. And I thought I'd introduce this topic with this Calvin and Hobbes comic. He says, "We seem to understand the value of oil, timber, minerals, and housing, but not the value of unspoiled beauty, wildlife, solitude, and spiritual renewal." So I think that's a great way to introduce this topic. And the reason is, so far we've seen that people can value uh, the consumption of a good through the demand curve. Okay, we've also seen that firms they have their own valuation of how much they're willing to sell a good at through the supply curve. But through this process, we may not be taking into account other things. That's the entire point of going through externalities. So this particular slide, so I'm not gonna explicitly click on this link and watch this video, but if you're following along with the PDF at home, then I do encourage you to click on this video and watch it. And as you're watching it, I'd like you to consider the implicit and explicit costs that this firm has to worry about. But I'd also like you to think about things that they're using, but they don't have to pay for it in any way. Okay? So if you're watching at home, feel free to pause this video and actually click on this link in the PDF. And if I can remember, I'll try to put this link to this PDF in the description. All right, so exactly what is an externality? So we've been talking about this for a couple of minutes, but we haven't really described what an externality is. So let's get into it. An externality is when, through production or consumption of a good or service, there's some sort of external benefit or cost that is changes the welfare of someone else. So someone that's not engaged in this market is being affected by the transaction, by this production or consumption of this good. And so why do we even care about that? Well, if we're concerned about an overall level of efficiency, then this concerns us, because this is presence of this externality is actually going to reduce economic efficiency. Right, so in order to actually try to tackle this problem, we're going to have to go over some definitions. Now, a couple of these we've seen all semester long. We're just going to call them something different in order to do this analysis. The first thing is, well, we've seen the supply curve before, right? We know that we derived the supply curve from the marginal cost curve. But now we're going to add this word private onto the marginal cost definition of it. We're going to call this the marginal private costs. Okay, and the reason that we're doing that is because we want to make sure we're differentiating this individual level cost from the cost to society. Okay, so the firm's got their own costs that they've got to worry about. That's the supply curve, the marginal private costs. But through this production of the good, the society, they may have a different cost. If we've got some sort of externality, then this social cost, this marginal social cost, may differ from the marginal private costs. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're differentiating this individual level marginal cost and the societal level marginal cost. Same thing for the demand curve. So we've seen the demand curve before. So we're going to call this the marginal private benefit. And again, this is just to differentiate between the demand curve and the social benefit. Okay, so through the consumption of some good, there may be some sort of societal benefit that may differ from just the individual. So that's the marginal social benefit. Okay, and through these new things, we've got a new solution concept. So before, what we saw was that supply equals demand, equilibrium. Okay, and we said that that was what was efficient. Supply equals demand. Or in other words, in our new way we're wording things, marginal private cost is equal to the marginal private benefit. Okay, so we said that that was efficient. But now in the presence of these externalities, where through either production or consumption of this good, there's some sort of cost or benefit that is affecting society, then that's no longer the efficient option, the socially efficient option. So instead now, where marginal social cost and marginal social benefit, that we're going to say that's the new efficient option. It's socially efficient, where the marginal social cost is equal to the marginal social benefit. All right, so next what we're going to do is we're going to go through each of the different types of externalities. So we're going to do that actually on a separate video. So this is going to be a 3-part series. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it here.